My name is Amy Gravino, and I am coming to you from Port Jefferson, New York. Now, some of you might have a family member or a friend who has autism, but for those who don't, many people who have autism also have sensitivities toward the textures, the smells, and the tastes of food. I had a lot of those same experiences when I was a kid, and so learning how to cook really changed my life. So what I'm going to do today is show you what some of those food fears are like for people on the autism spectrum, how to overcome them, and how cooking can make food less scary and more fun for everyone. So let's get started. So what we're going to be making today is stuffed portobello mushrooms. Now this is a big fear of mine. I used to be terrified of portobello mushrooms. Are they still there? Look at these things. See those big gills? Those freak me out for years. I mean, why do mushrooms have gills anyway? They're not fish. Fish have gills. But even when I pass by them in the supermarket now, I still have to avert my eyes a little bit, just because they're just so creepy looking. But the way that I overcame my fear of mushrooms and portobello mushrooms was learning how to cook with them. So the first thing that we got to do is we got to trim these big woody stems here, because we want to have enough room in here to fill in the mushroom. So we're going to take our knife, we're going to trim this big honking stem, right? We're going to trim. And then we're going to scoop out some of these gills, right? So we have extra room. Use a spoon. And you can just go like this, and just scoop that stuff out. There you go. See? Bye-bye scary gills. Not so bad. When you're a kid especially, you know, people put food in front of you, say, this is your dinner, eat this. But you don't know what's in it. You don't know, what the different foods are. What are all those different colors and those different textures and that funky smell, and it's just overwhelming. And the smallest things when you're on the spectrum can be just incredibly painful. Now here I am, I'm trying not to run screaming the other way because of these portobellos, but I know that there's going to be something delicious at the end of all this. So our recipe calls for 1 roasted red bell pepper, and you can easily buy these in the supermarket in a jar, but it's so much better to roast them yourself at home, and it's super easy. So all you do is take the bell pepper of your choice, in this case a red one, put it on a rimmed baking sheet, turn the broiler on in your oven, or up to 500 degrees if you don't have a broiler, and just keep turning it until each side is charred, so about 5 to 7 minutes per side, depending on how strong your oven is. You can also hold the pepper over a flame and roast it that way. And then, when we've let it steam here for 15 minutes, covered with plastic wrap, and now the skin will come right off, super easy. Now, the vegetables that I've chosen for these stuffed portobello mushrooms, as I had said, we've got our sweet onion here, we've got our roasted red bell pepper, which I just showed you how easy it was to get the skin off of that when we roasted it ourselves in the oven. We've got 2 diced zucchini here, and that's another kind of scary one, squash. What does squash mean? I mean, the word squash is sort of violent just by itself, so who wants to eat something that could hurt you? But squash, in actuality, is very delicious. So it's not too scary after all. It's just a matter of how you make it. We've got 2 minced cloves of garlic here, also that are going to go in our filling. We've got 1/4 cup of panko. Now panko is Japanese breadcrumbs, and they're not as fine and sandy as regular breadcrumbs, and I think they're a little lighter, so I happen to like them better. And we've got 1/4 cup of grated Parmigiano Reggiano cheese here, which is a personal favorite of mine, being Italian. And we've just got our little aromatics. We've got a little pinch of dried red pepper flake, a little pinch of dried oregano, which we've crumbled up with our fingers to bring out the oils and the flavor. And then we'll just add a little bit of black pepper as we like it. So this is going to be a really tasty dish when all is said and done. And also, of course, we have some spinach. We're going to put a nice handful of fresh spinach in. So sometimes I get really overwhelmed, when I'm in the kitchen, or just even in general. And something that's always helped to calm me down ever since I was a kid was when I would go into my grandparents' house, I would reach into the canister of flour and I would squeeze a handful of flour. And I've got some here right now, and it's so soothing. It's like squishing those stress balls. But this was my stress ball before there was a stress ball. Take 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil, and we're going to heat it in a skillet over medium-high heat. And you want to let that get nice and heated. And you can turn the pan like this so that you coat all the surfaces. Add our Vidalia onion that we chopped up, and we are going to saute this just until the onion has softened for about 5 minutes or so. So as you can see, we've got all our vegetables in here now. We've got our roasted red bell peppers, our zucchini, our sweet Vidalia onion, and our garlic. And let me tell you, it makes a big stink, boy. So one thing that has helped me, you know, because that can be a lot to deal with, is having a fan on. The fan can help ventilate all those strong smells so that you're not quite so overwhelmed with them. So now we're just going to add our seasonings and our last few things for the filling. This is a 1/4 cup of panko, as we mentioned. We're going to add that in. We're going to add our dried oregano, some nice seasoning there. We are going to add just a little pinch of crushed red pepper flake, which is nice, which we like. We're going to add just a little pinch of salt, just to taste. You know, if you are sensitive to salt, you can add a little bit less. And then we're just going to add a little bit of black pepper to our taste. And then finally we have a 1/4 cup of grated Parmigiano Reggiano. So that's our beautiful filling, and we're going to stir this all in, stir it together so it's all set, and then we are going to put this in our mushroom caps. Our stuffed portobello mushroom caps are all finished, and look how great they came out. They browned very nicely, and we sprinkle them with a tablespoon of shredded mozzarella cheese about after 35 minutes. And so now we're just going to finish them off. We're going to do our nice little finishing flourish. We're going to sprinkle them each with some flaky sea salt. Now this gives you just a nice finishing flavor. And our last little finishing touch, we're just going to put a drizzle of oil on each of these. So, little drizzle. And there you have it, a favorite of mine, stuffed portobello mushroom caps. Aren't they fantastic? So I hope I've helped you learn a little bit about autism and some of the experiences of being autistic and cooking. And thank you so much for joining me here today. Enjoy.